Howdy there, welcome back. We're here to look at the hardware component to the 11 rack, seeing as how we've already gone through the software. So right on this side of the interface, you can see that you've got the most important inputs that we put on the front panel. So we'll start off right here with the guitar input jack. This is actually a lot more important than it looks like. It's more than just a simple guitar input. It actually contains a circuit we're calling True Z, which basically allows you to, in the analog domain, match the impedance of any circuit. So as you change the device in the signal path, the True Z will update it to make sure that it really does react like the real gear would, which is a key to making it feel right. You have the output to amp jack right here. There's two of these. There's one on the back and one on the front. The one on the front is designed, of course, for driving things like combo amplifiers, things of that nature. And you can choose where you pick the signals off of this. So for instance, right at the direct guitar output, you could pinch the signal from right in front of the amplifier, which would be after the pedals, for instance. You could pinch it directly after the amplifier to drive an external power amp, or the entire rig output if you want to drive a recorder. And this one and the one on the back operate in much the same way. They could be stereo or have completely separate things going on, which is cool. You have the phones jack here, of course, for the set of headphones. You can set up the level in the preferences so that there's an offset between the master speaker level and the phones. So it's very easy to do if you'd like to do that. And something that's really important, because most people, I imagine, would overlook this bit. This is a mic preamp. It's actually a very, very nice sounding mic preamp. This you can use for anything you would normally mic up, whether it's a vocal, an acoustic guitar, or if you're using an external power amp and an external speaker cabinet to reamp a signal inside of Pro Tools, you can mic it right back into this mic preamp. And you can run this mic preamp through the entire rig for effects. So it's very, very powerful, and it's something that no other device does on the planet quite like this one does. It's a new breed of beast, if that makes sense. So let's turn this around and get an idea of what's going on the back panel. And now we're looking at the back panel. So here's that other output to amp jack I mentioned. So it can be fed from a number of different places inside the architecture of the box. Underneath that, you have the MIDI jacks. So those are useful for both controlling this device with a MIDI controller on a floor pedal for a live gig, but also you can connect MIDI devices here, and those will travel up the USB 2.0 cable to Pro Tools as a MIDI interface if you like. From there we have a very important jack on this device. This is called the expression pedal or foot switch jack. Has a number of different uses for it. So you can connect either a continuous controller pedal, and that will do parameter changes, it will do volume, wah, rig volume, or you can tie a number of different parameters to one pedal at once, so you can morph from one setting to another, which is very cool. Or you can set it up to do simple foot switches. So you could use it tap tempo, or tuner on and off, or parameter up, parameter down, which is kind of cool. After that, you have the digital I/O. And there are both AES EBU and SBDIF. You can use one of these at a time. So when Pro Tools is running, it always sends the rig output or the DAW output of Pro Tools. However, when you're in standalone mode, there's a really neat feature called split mode. And what it allows you to do is take the output of the rig, sum it together to the left channel, and then take the direct sound, the dry guitar sound, right out of the front of the box and send it out the right channel. So if you're recording to an external digital recorder, you can get a representation of what you played live, and also the direct signal so you can reamp. So it's very cool. So let's move over to the next section. And here we have the main outputs for the box. So when you're running with Pro Tools, this is where you would connect your near-field studio monitors for studio reference. When it's in standalone mode, this is where you might connect to a PA or to an external power amp to drive an external speaker cabinet. You have a button right here, which is a ground lift switch. In a live environment, many times there are opportunities for ground loops almost everywhere you look, because power amps and lighting and all sorts of AC units and things. So if you do encounter a ground loop, you can just try to push this in and it will probably solve it. So here you have the line inputs. Front, those are for connecting to the output of an effects unit if you would like to record the result of that, or a keyboard or a mixer or anything else. You can conceive of recording as a line level input into Pro Tools. And over on this side is the effects loop, which is an extremely important part of the behavior of the 11 rack. It's balanced. You notice you have 4 jacks. You can use it as a stereo or mono or a combination thereof. And you'll see you also have a gain switch here so you can change the operating gain of the loop. So pedal effects traditionally operate on a much lower level than rack effects do. So if you're connecting a pedal to this loop, best thing to do is start out and just start on a pedal level as a rule of thumb and see where you go from there. The important part to get about the way the loop behaves on the 11 rack is that you can move this guy to multiple places within the signal chain, allowing you to optimize the gear that you're inserting in there. So it's a very powerful feature, very, very cool. So that pretty much wraps up the hardware component to the 11 rack. So I think we're about ready to hear what it sounds like. Awesome.